In the central part of Hutong area in Beijing, locates a bamboo bicycle workshop. It is the first bamboo bicycle workshop in Beijing, opening since 2014, leading the trend of younger generation of the cycling enthusiasts. David Wang, a young Chinese-American, founded the Bamboo Bicycle Beijing and became interested in the biking society.
I've been in China for about 6 years now, and before I started this workshop, I was actually salvaging a lot of bikes from the street, and actually there's many bikes that are thrown out and people just leave them outside in different apartment complexes and in the streets and all over the place. And I was taking them home to my apartment and rebuilding them. I was basically taking off the paint, taking off the rust, and rebuilding all of the components with new components. Along the way, actually, I was also doing research on Chinese youth. We had some clients from car companies asking, what is the meaning of mobility for Chinese youth? And actually, that was one of the most interesting projects I did there, because I went all over China. I went to everywhere. I went to Kunming, Shanghai, Beijing, Ningbo, many different places, and asked Chinese young people, 10 years from now, what do you expect in terms of mobility? And all of them said, I would have to have a nice car. And when we asked why, actually the answer was usually, either to get married, to get a promotion, to have some sort of social standing in society. And I thought it was very interesting. I had one respondent who told me he would actually really like to bike to work, but there's a big problem. If he bikes to work, I think he worked in finance, nobody would let him in the door if he had a meeting. If he biked to some meeting, the security guard wouldn't even let him in. And so he said, you know what, I have to drive a car just because it's for work. I had another respondent who said, in order to go to his friend's wedding, his friend, one of his good friends, said, you have to rent a BMW. You can't drive, I think he had a Volkswagen. You can't drive your Volkswagen to my wedding, you have to rent a BMW to be part of the wedding parade.
To David and his fellow bikers, it is more than a workshop, and the bamboo bikes are more than commuting tools.
At the same time I was building these bikes and thinking about, how can, right now it's really important to Chinese young people and to consumers in general to have some sort of social value to what they use. They want, especially for the younger generation, they're thinking, how does this item that I'm purchasing or that I'm making represent me and my values?
A small and active community has been built, and the lifestyle of riding on the saddle reflects Chinese younger generation's culture nowadays.
I do think that's very important to create community. It's not to say, okay, there's one person who's going to change how Beijing looks and what community looks like. But if you have a lot of people who are very passionate about themselves and what they want to achieve for the world and society, that's how community gets started. Because people aren't going to do it for money. They're not going to do it for just themselves, but they do want to do it for a bigger idea. And I think we're beginning to see a lot more of that in the younger generations that are coming. Because, why? Because they have more information through their cell phones, through the internet. Their parents are a lot more supportive in terms of letting them travel, letting them try different things. And they have traveled more. They've been exposed to a lot of different ideas and things like that. And of course, they have more consumption power. They feel a little bit more stable in terms of their economic status. I do think there's a feeling, it's obviously not perfect, but there's a feeling that, I will have a decent quality life, and that's something that I'll have. And I don't need to sacrifice my own comfort or my own values or my own ideals just to have a stable life.